The structure of your CeMAP exams changed not that long ago. So in this video, I wanted to clarify how they've changed and how they're laid out so that you know exactly what you're doing across all three of your CeMAP exams. The first thing that I want to mention here is whilst yes, the material and the context has changed a little bit, if you've been studying for CeMAP for a while, you do not have to put everything in the bin and start again. Actually, everything is pretty closely aligned to how it was. It's just the exams look a little bit different. The biggest change that we've seen is with CeMAP 1, and that's because they've effectively put CeMAP 1 in the bin altogether, and they've replaced it with a brand new exam that's, well, it's brand new for CeMAP. It's called FSRE, which stands for Financial Services Regulation and Ethics. This has replaced what was the old CeMAP 1 exam. Actually, the content of the two exams are very similar. And I can say that because I've sat both exams, and you could probably use the same textbook to study and pass for both. Obviously, you should use the right textbook, but it's just to give you an idea that if you have been studying and you've recently switched, don't worry, you don't have to start again. The biggest difference is the layout. So with the old CeMAP 1, it was 2 units, 2 lots of 50 multiple choice questions. You had an hour for each. So that was 100 multiple choice questions in total. You had to get 70% in Unit 1 and 70% in Unit 2 to pass. The new one is almost exactly the same. It's 2 units, an hour for Unit 1, an hour for Unit 2. You still need to get 70% to pass. The biggest difference is the layout of the exam. So this is 40 questions instead of 50 questions. And the way that it works is you have 25 questions that are just standalone multiple choice, exactly the same as what you were used to from the old CeMAP 1. But then your last 15 questions are case study based. You are not expected to write the case studies. It's just you are given a case study on one half of your screen, and then you get a question on the other half of the screen that relates to the case study. That's it. That's the main difference between the old and the new CeMAP 1. My biggest tip for the new CeMAP 1 is to read the question before you read the case study. Because after recently sitting the exam, I found that actually out of the 30 questions in total, because remember you get 15 for Unit 1 and 15 for Unit 2, there were only 2 or 3 questions where I actually needed to read the case study to be able to answer the question. So always read the question first and then ask yourself, do I need to look at the case study to answer this? Because if the answer is no, answer the question and move on. That's CeMAP 1. Now, CeMAP 2 is where your next textbook comes in. So you'll get a second textbook in the post, and that covers you for both CeMAP 2 and for CeMAP 3 as well. So there aren't 3 textbooks. Now, CeMAP 2 has changed in a sense of it used to be 4 units. So you used to sit units 3, 4, 5, and 6, and they would have anywhere between 20 and 30 questions in them. You would get half an hour per unit. They've actually scrapped that now, and they've split CeMAP 2 into 2 units again, just like CeMAP 1. I think the big reason that they've done this is because you have to pay a resit fee if you fail a unit. And you don't have to resit the whole exam, you only resit the unit that you failed, which meant that for some people for CeMAP 2, if they'd have failed Unit 5, as an example, they would be paying the £190, I believe that's now gone up, but it was around £190 for a resit fee to resit 20 questions. And they didn't feel like that was a fair reflection on the work that they were doing. So they've switched it around a little bit. Now it's split into 2 halves. You get an hour for each half. And then moving on to CeMAP 3. CeMAP 3 is the one that people tend to freak out about the most, but that's just because the layout is a little bit different. The good news is, if you've sat the new CeMAP 1 exam, or FSRE, you are used to the case study question scenario. And that's what you get in CeMAP 3. So CeMAP 3 is 60 multiple choice questions, and you get 6 case studies in there. So it's 10 questions per case study. This exam isn't split into units, it is just 60 questions. With all of these, you need 70% in each unit to pass. For CeMAP 3, it is 1 exam, it isn't split. So that means you need 42 out of 60 in order to pass. You don't get a certificate for just doing FSRE or CeMAP 1, or for just doing CeMAP 2. You don't get your CeMAP qualification until you've passed all 3 exams. And the way that the sending out of the certificates works is they generally only generate these certificates on 1 or 2 days a month, and you have to have sat your exam and then wait for the next generation date. Then they will email you to tell you that your certificate is ready. And you can either download a digital version for free, or you can pay a fee and they will send you out a physical copy in the post. But you can't get your certificate straight away. So if you are working for an employer who needs to see evidence of the pass, you just have to screenshot the stuff from the LIBF website. So just a quick recap then before we sign off. CeMAP 1 has changed, but the content is pretty much the same. It is the layout that's mainly different. CeMAP 2 has just been split from 4 units into 2. It's very similar to CeMAP 1, and CeMAP 3 is the standalone one that you will either love or you will hate. Now, if you're studying for CeMAP and you want some extra support for free, make sure you sign up to my 60 days to CeMAP strategy. It's 60 days worth of emails that are hints and tips specifically to get you over the line with all 3 of your CeMAP exams. If you've liked this video, make sure that you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you for the next one.